Welcome to the Pitstop podcast with me, Jaco van der Merwe. I'm joined by Mark Jones and by Charles Bosch. This week, we've got some excited news. Charles recently had a little glimpse of it coming to South Africa next year, the all-new Renault Duster.
Yes.
Tell us more about this.
Very, very excited. Cannot wait for it. It arrives in March. Completely brand new generation Duster. I think it's going to do very, very well. We don't know pricing of it yet, but from what we've seen, the vehicle was pre-production basically, but I think it's going to do well. We know the Duster's got a good reputation in this country, so we'll have to wait and see what happens come March next year.
Mark, that little space they're playing in, it's not completely a compact SUV.
That's sort of unique in its category.
Yes, starting currently at just under 400, going up to 465. That's the cutthroat little segment nowadays. What did we say? Isn't there like 30 odd or 35 manufacturers or options or models on that little space?
Yeah, I mean, we just did Hyundai Creta the other day. And, I mean, if you look at that list, I mean, it's as long as can be. So, yeah, they're going to play in a very, very tough part of the market. But Duster's always had that space where they had that soft spot for it. I'm not sure what generation it is now, Charles.
I think it's third or fourth, yeah, I think, yeah.
Because, I mean, if you look at it now and what it offers compared to what I remember, original Duster, I mean, you kind of felt like you'd rather go fight in the Russian war than drive a Duster. It was that bad. So I think it's going to bring the goods to at least be competitive.
But one of the little things you're telling now, that little almost like a unique little segment it finds itself in, the four-wheel drive option, it wasn't something that was just readily available in that type of bracket. I mean, if you discount like a Suzuki Jimny or whatever.
The unique selling point of that thing, or if you factor it the other way, could have been one of its downsides, was it was only available with a manual gearbox. But it had the manual, it had that fantastic 1.5 litre turbodiesel engine, which was its main selling point. And if you go on used car vehicle sales lots websites, there isn't a lot of four-wheel drive Dusters available. The majority are two-wheel drives with the EDC gearbox. So that was always one of the unique point. It had that very clever three-mode all-wheel drive system where you could lock it and then it would simulate, if I can use that term, a low-range transfer case. So you can't do heavy hardcore off-roading, but it would travel a fair amount of off-roading still.
I wonder how many people ever, to be very blunt.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Duster in the wild kind of doing anything off-road. But
true.
It had the capability, and I think that's what people bought it for, to say, if I have to go off-road, I'm going to go with my Duster.
And stupid fuel consumption.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. I mean, even if you didn't even have to try, and you would do 5 odd litres per 100 kilometers and have 1,000k range.
That's a very familiar little 1.5 diesel.
Yes.
So a lot of products.
Yeah.
That was also in the NP200.
Had a lot of Renault Nissan products. It was a Renault engine, specifically a Renault engine.
So tell me, powertrains for the new one, did they disclose anything?
Yes, they did.
Are we keeping the diesel?
No, we're not. Unfortunately, the diesel is dying because it's
no longer lying.
It's because of what's happening in Europe. So diesel is, we all know, it's the fuel of Satan in Europe. So unfortunately,
ironically, not so many years ago, it was the savior of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your coffee blend at home was diesel, your fridge was diesel.
Yeah,
now it's like the enemy. Yeah,
it's gone, unfortunately. So what they said was the original allocations of Duster would be sourced from the main factory, the main Dacia, whatever you want to pronounce it, plant in Romania, and then it's going to be shifting at a later stage to India, because the Romanian, the Bigster, which is an extended wheelbase 7-seat Duster, will be coming as well, but we'll talk about that at a later time. So no more diesel. It's going to be a 1.2 litre petrol turbo with mild hybrid assistance, which produces 96 kilowatts. That's the only engine that's been talking about at the moment. There is a LPG option available in Europe, but there's no way we're going to get that of the same engine. And then there's a very interesting, and I mean, Jaco probably experienced that at the Renault Arcana event, a hybrid a couple of years ago. It's a 1.6 litre hybrid, but it's a very weird hybrid system. It's a normally aspirated 1.6 litre petrol engine combined with an electric motor and a very strange gearbox. And that's available in Europe, but that's probably also not coming. So for now, only 1.2 petrol turbo is being mentioned.
Sounds like a Jolyon comes with that naturally aspirated hybrid funny gearbox thing. Also in that segment, that's just the reason I'm raising it.
It's a very weird, it's a 4-speed automatic, a conventional 4-speed automatic, but it's got 2 electric motors and run by the battery. And those electric motors somehow, don't ask me because I don't have an engineering degree at ever, that takes control of the reverse gears. And then somehow blended together, it becomes a 6-speed automatic. And it's got so many configurations. I think it's 30 or 40 settings or whatever.
But I think you nailed it. It shouldn't be coming here, so...
No, because it's too confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
We want simplicity.
Yeah.
And that's what the Duster was.
Speaking of simplicity, I mean, this diesel engine, in my opinion, that's a big loss for them. Because in that segment, we're talking about, there's a lot of players there, a lot of fight, and a lot of Chinese products there. And the one thing the Chinese products don't have is that diesel edge. And I mean, to now lose that diesel edge, we were talking just now about the fuel consumption. They can... Honestly, now Renault can tell me anything about how good this 1.2 is going to be in terms of fuel economy. It will not top that diesel. It won't.
No, that's the problem. There's going to be claims, without a doubt. They're going to say, stop it. You know, if you drive it this way, it's going to do that. The old 1.5 was this and that. We know, without being silly, it's rubbish. They're not going to get it right. It's not going to be there. And that was its biggest thing. Everybody owned a Duster would... You know, it's like, how do you know if somebody is a vegetarian or whatever? They tell you.
Yes.
Well, how do you know a Duster owner? They would tell you, I'll get 1,500 Ks in a tank and I can go to Durban and back 3 times. That's the Duster biggest selling point. Now, it's going to be lost a little in the middle of all these other engines and no massive USP. And I think that's going to maybe hurt what Duster was.
If they can... I don't know, because India is still also like us, still a diesel-centric market. Yes, that car was never, never designed for as a Dacia with a diesel engine in Europe. So whether they could make, I don't know, if they still allow the engine to continue in India, make an exception for India. And then allow it in there, and for us, then it'll be fantastic. New design. Great new interior with a diesel engine, but it was never mentioned at this event that we went to with this product event. So
we live in hope.
Yeah,
well, I can tell you now, chances I don't think is good because Mahindra themselves said the other day with the 3XO, they said they want in South Africa, they know how badly people want diesel. They can't get any assistance from the Indian side. So, I mean, here we're talking about Indian manufacturer in India. Yeah. Here we're talking about Renault French going through India, coming to South Africa.
Via Romania.
The Dacia connection.
The diesel will remain there and not remain here.
Oi.
It's nearly Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but as soon as we know more next year, early next year, launch around about March, we will keep you updated. Maybe that 1.2 does run on fumes. Maybe it uses 2 liters per 100 K.
Living in hope.
Let's give them a benefit of the doubt.
Or maybe Charles still believes in Father Christmas, so...
How would you know?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, by the time it's here, I mean, it is Easter Bunny time. So, the only time.
Well, he definitely believes in that.
Oh, stop it, man. I don't.
On that little light note, that's all from us this week. Thank you for listening to the Pitstop podcast. Please go and like this. You can share it. You can even follow our channel. Thank you very much for listening. Cheers.